Coming up on this week's show, the Audi A5 becomes a sedan and a technological tour de force. All four derivatives do come with the S-Line standard, which I do think adds a little bit of a sporty element. We travel to Egypt to drive the all-new Nissan Patrol.
It's big, it's very American, and I think South Africans are going to love it.
And Ernest discovers true value for money in the Ford Ranger lineup.
You've got yourself a modern workhorse that's got a bunch of stowage locations, a comfortable interior, and Ford's signature banging sound system.
Hello and thank you for tuning in to Ignition GT, your one-stop shop for the latest local and international motoring news and reviews. Joining me in studio to share their insights with us are two guests who need no introduction. Gentlemen, Brendan and Francois, thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've got a whole Volvo cab, so I don't know if you want to talk about Volvo of the cab. Is that like a hint?
No, that's just to hide my hair. It's my hair situation.
But let us start with you. What would you like to talk about? What have you been driving recently?
Things are generally like a little bit quiet in terms of test cars at the beginning of the year.
Yes, yes.
But we obviously had quite a few cars over the December holiday period.
Yes.
I had a Toyota Fortuner.
Yeah.
Actually, this was the second December that I've had a Fortuner. We had the GR Sport. It's like some cosmetic upgrades,
Yeah.
and then like slightly more kilowatts, slightly more torque.
Yeah.
But not that I think that like most people would even notice it, like just driving it normally. But of course, the exciting thing is with new Hilux on the horizon, it means that
Yes.
Fortuner will be shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still a great all-rounder, spacious, good fuel economy. And it's easy to see why it still remains such a big hit.
Yeah, I
with
really
buyers.
love that one, and also it looks phenomenal. I think the design is amazing. Let's go to you, Brendan. What have you been piloting?
There have been many before and during the holiday, but I will highlight a big surprise actually.
Okay.
So the launch was at the end of last year, and it's actually just gone back. It was one of the first test cars this year. Is the new MG ZS Pro. So when we launched ZS initially, which
Yeah.
was their small sort of B SUV, and it was non-turbocharged, and the gearbox was like really stupid and slow, and
yeah, just
I
a bit of
thought,
a lag.
guys, even at the price point, like this car is horrible.
Yeah.
It's really not great. Now they've sort of like tightened up a few things. They've put the 1.5 turbo motor in with the CVT gearbox and what they call the ZS Pro. Sure,
And?
it is more expensive, but the car is bloody good, like really, really good. It goes well. It's quite good on fuel. It's not bad on fuel. This is one of those cars where you go, forget all the dual clutches. This CVT is perfect.
Yeah.
Its safety systems were not overly intrusive. The motor actually, when you floor it to take a gap or whatever it is the first time, you think, whoa. It feels closer to a 2 litre than what it does to a 1.5. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, interesting. Well, let's turn our attention now to something completely different. As part of Audi's new naming strategy, even the numbers like A4 and A6 will be reserved for future electric models, while odd numbers are for ICE or hybrid-powered cars. Therefore, the new A5 sedan effectively replaces the A4, adopting not only its size and role, but also a brace of formidable rivals. If you're shopping around for a mid-sized luxury sedan, then of course the first thing you think about when looking for comfort and luxury has to be the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. If it is a dynamic drive, more spirited and agile, what comes to mind has to be the BMW 3 Series. But if you're thinking Audi A5, what is its unique selling point? I cannot think of one on the top of my head, and that's exactly what I want to find out today. What makes the A5 better than its competitors? First off, let me note that the A5 is actually replacing the A4. So this was meant to be the new A4, but it is now the A5, at least for this generation. Now let's talk about styling. I do think they've kept it very sleek and very contoured in its lines. A mix of like aggressive styling as well as, you know, just sophisticated lines. Up front, you have sleek headlights, LED with high beam technology. I do like that you can personalize that and really play around with how that looks. The grille actually has an interesting design, half open on top and then closed just below there by where the plate is. Air intakes glossed out, and I do think that's actually quite a nice addition. They're quite prominent and make the car look a little bit aggressive. Over on the side, you have your 19-inch alloys with your run flats. This is also an S-line, so all 4 derivatives do come with the S-line standard, which I do think adds a little bit of a sporty element. You also have blacked out side mirrors as well as the black framing around the windows, and it also comes out with blacked out door handles, and the design I think is actually quite nice. Although it retains its saloon sort of characteristics and design, it also does have a sloping roofline, making it very coupe-esque, and I quite like that, making it sort of fastback and sporty in its nature. Around the back, it also has a singular taillight, bulky on the side, and then you have your 2 tailpipes. Those are actually quite real. Gonna put my hand in. Yep, those are real. Nice surprise. You have 446 liters worth of boot space, and that's a nice thing you get with sedans. The boot space is always so practical. You do have a large bay to just put in all your bags and everything else that you might need to travel in there. It's time to get into the car, and that's actually my favorite part of this car because that interior, sublime. One thing I must commend Audi for has to be this new cabin. It is phenomenal. I mean, look at this white interior, the seats, the stitching, just the overall luxury and sophistication. You have a very nice color combination in this car, that white contrast on the black dashboard. I really think it works so nicely together. You also have this huge digital infotainment screen in front of you, what Audi calls the digital stage. Panoramic is really big, it grabs your attention. Graphics, I must say, just the best that I've seen in a long time. And it's also just user-centric, so it is sort of angled towards the user, which I really do enjoy as well. But it does not leave out the passenger because they do get a screen of their own. I do think that the addition of that second passenger screen does sort of set the benchmark in this segment. In front of me, I also have a flat bottom leather wrapped multifunctional steering wheel, also can be heated, and you also do get 36 options of ambient lighting. Optional extras on this car would include the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Another optional extra I would think about ticking off would be the switchable transparency panoramic sunroof, because it actually has a technology that is quite unseen in the segment. So you can close this all the way, creating an opaque sort of sunroof illusion, or open it up on those partly cloudy days. Another new addition inside Audi A5's interior has to be where they have positioned the lights. So they're now sitting on the door and not on the toggle as you would have found them before. You also do have obviously your mirror option, how to change and customize those, and also your seat settings, which is quite interesting, weird, different, but I do think it's quite unique. So Audi in South Africa has given us 4 model lineups as well as 2 engine options. They come in 2-liter 7-speed dual transmission, It comes in a 146 kilowatt and 316 Newton meter torque engine. It also comes in the 200 kilowatt and 400 Newton meter. We have the 146 right now that I'm piloting, and it actually does feel good. I do think that it has enough power and kind of excites you to levels of feeling like, you know, you are enjoying the open road and you are enjoying how it's handling. I do feel, however, that in its handling, it's not as dynamic or spirited as you would find the BMW 330. It does lean a little bit more into the comfort side of things. Cabin is really well insulated. It feels very premium and just very sturdy and strong as well. One thing this car is definitely not is lazy. Let's talk fuel efficiency. Audi had claimed around 6.5, 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. We have been doing about 8.5 to 9. It has a starting price of 1.23 million rand, up to 1.281,800 million rand for the black edition. Great car, undeniably. It drives well, loads of tech, love the cabin space. It really is quite a nice package, but at 1.2 million rand, 23 million rand, I do think it should not be coming above the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Audi could have benefited from just bringing it a little bit lower, especially in its entry point, just to make it a bit more competitive. So have I been able to find the USP for this car, the unique selling proposition, the characteristic that makes it stand out from all the rest? Not really. I think the jury is still out on that one.
Welcome back to Ignition GT. An all-new Audi is always greeted by generous amounts of excitement and anticipation, and it's no different in the case of the new A5. While it does everything a compact executive sedan needs to do, it doesn't do enough to differentiate itself from the premium D segment. At least those were my impressions. But what do our guests think? And Brendan?
So I do think the car looks good. I do think it's nice, it's lovely to drive. Something that Audis were good at even before this car. Ingress and egress, even though it's a similar shape to a 3 Series or a C-Class, getting in and out of the A5 now is easier than in its competitors. It doesn't set my heart on fire, but in my opinion, if I was moving into that space, I would potentially want something considerably sporty. Think C43, C63, M3, that sort of thing. So it is lovely to drive. I think it's lovely to look at. It's not necessarily stupidly expensive. So I do think it, to what you said, I do think it offers enough to be a great alternative. Does it do enough to discount the C, the 3 and the Lexus?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe let's go to you, Francois. I mean, you did drive it for a while. What were your, also drive impressions of the car and overall just thought of the product itself when you stack it against?
So I mean, like Brendan pointed out, because it's not based on entirely new underpinnings, it doesn't really move the goalposts, right, in the segment. So I think it is it would be unreasonable to expect it to be, miles ahead of a C-Class or a 3 Series. Where I think this definitely trumps the Mercedes, I think, is in interior quality, the fit and finish, the materials. And then, of course, it is also, I think, in the interior where they have really put in some effort to kind of make this car stand out. So you've got that screen in front of the front passenger, which is optional, right? It's not standard. And then you also have the panoramic roof, which can be dimmed, and also in sections, so kind of like the Cadillac Celestiq. I think if you were in an Audi A4 or perhaps an A5 Sportback before this, it'll be a very good upgrade.
What is your preference? Do you want sporty? Do you want more luxury? Or do you kind of just stick with the middle and you're just happy with this, with the price point, in...
I think this car potentially, and Audi, has carved enough of a niche that they will have a return buyer who wants an Audi.
Yeah.
They like the way it feels, they like the way it's built and smells, and they'll just buy another one. They'll go and look and they'll go, I want that one. And if someone says to them it's 1.3 million, they'll go, and they'll buy it. There's not much you can buy at all that's nice
With that
under
money.
$1 million.
No.
There's nothing under $1 million that's setting your heart on fire.
No, I think at 1.1 million, starting at 1.1 million, I don't think it's unreasonably priced.
Yeah. Well, let's move over from executive sedans to luxurious off-roaders. Over the course of 7 decades, the Nissan Patrol has gradually evolved from a rugged, no-nonsense 4x4 into a plush mud plugger to rival the finest from Britain, Germany and the USA. The latest iteration is the most opulent yet, as we discovered on a recent trip to Egypt.
We are in Guna. We are here at the Red Sea SUV Drive. We're proud to introduce for the first time the new Patrol as part of our SUV lineup for Africa. Starting with the exterior design, it changed dramatically and it's an uplift.
Styling-wise, I think it's a great improvement over the previous car. It just looks more elegant, more classy, a little bit more conservative. And if we know anything about South African buyers, especially in this segment, they don't want too flashy, they don't want too many lines, too many design quirks. They want something solid that looks dependable.
The styling is amazing. It looks really, really pretty. Very big, very bulky. I really like the styling.
It's big, it's very American, and I think South Africans are going to love it.
The new Patrol comes with a new twin turbo engine, very efficient and matching our performance and road conditions in Africa.
Stunning. That engine is absolutely amazing. It's a petrol V6. Can't go wrong. You can't fault it. It's just really beautiful. It has no turbo lag. I think it's just so responsive for a car of its size.
This car, certainly in the SE Platinum grade that we drove with its air suspension, won't have any issues in doing a proper job of off-roading. If I'm not mistaken, 244mm ground clearance. It's enough ground clearance to go basically anywhere, and of course in style and comfort.
It is a phenomenal vehicle in terms of the suspension. Self-adaptive air suspension that just soaks up all the bumps. We were driving through the desert at quite a lick of speed and it feels like you're floating on a cushion of air.
Obviously in a car of this size you expect there to be space. What I didn't expect is that the third row of seats would have as much space as it has. I'm a tall guy, sat in the back quite comfortably, a lot of space in that car.
The back is actually very comfortable. I always attribute 7-seaters to have like very cramped space for the third row, but I could easily idle. I had a bit of leg room by my knees. I think it was good for a road trip.
What interests me most, something really small. It's a biometric climate control system which actually scans your body heat and determines the appropriate climate control setting. It'll warm it up, it'll cool it down, which never heard of it before. I think that's great.
It's becoming a premium luxury car, and this is how we're going also to position it in the market.
It's not going to be a cheap car. It's luxurious, it's competent, it's large, and it definitely feels premium.
For me, I think it has to be that interior, that cherry red leather, brushed aluminium trim. It's just, oh, it's beautiful. We were talking to the driving instructor and he gave us the vehicle's price locally in Egyptian pounds. If you do the exchange rate, we're looking at about 3 million rand.
Planning for the new Patrol is 2027, and we'll keep you updated once we have information.
So you've got about 600,000 to spend on a bakkie, a workhorse. But you don't necessarily want to go with someone like GWM or Photon or any of the other lesser established brands. You might be looking at a Ford or Toyota, and if you do go to the Ford dealership, you'll stumble on this, the Ford Ranger XL 4x4 manual. And you can get it for around 620,000 Rand. Let's find out more. It's a bit chilly in Joburg. But let's start with the exterior tour. And starting with some of the things you don't get. You don't get color-coded wing mirrors. You don't get special badging on the side here, and you don't get LED lights. You also don't get fog lights. But when it comes to a workhorse, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You scuff that mirror, you're not going to care. These lights to replace, easy and cheap. And then of course, you've got high-profile 17-inch wheels here. That means if you go into a hole, you scratch the rim, it's not that expensive to fix. And also, scratching the rim is a lot more difficult with that size chunky tire on. You're not supposed to get all the features on the car, so you don't get the soft tis drop tailgate, but you do get these handy side steps over here. You get a tonneau cover on the back, all the loading capabilities of a Ford Ranger and all the towing capabilities of a Ford Ranger. This of course is the single turbo version, so let's go see what's happening under the bonnet. This is the single turbo 125 kilowatt 405 Newton meter engine, which is ample, especially when mated to that manual gearbox inside there. Claimed fuel consumption is 6.9 liters, and with a big 80-liter tank, you can get over 1,000 kilometers from this diesel engine. It can also tow 3.5 tons braked, just like the other buckies in this range. When it comes to Ford's interior, it's always been class leading, especially since this new gen Ranger came out. Now, this one does have the poverty spec setup, so you've got a smaller infotainment system, you've got a smaller, less functional dash over here, but it still looks modern. It's so easy to use, and it basically connected itself to my phone early on with 1 or 2 inputs required from me. It is quite plasticky and quite utilitarian, and the steering wheel is proper plastic. I've never liked a plastic steering wheel, but this is supposed to be the workhorse. So what's important is seating position, lots and lots of stowage compartments, and Ford's signature banging sound system. So we throw around numbers like 620,000 like it's nothing. And it isn't. But in a world where R1 million bucky is a very real thing, 620 doesn't sound so bad in the end, does it? Now, considering that you can get a P-Series top spec P300 for around 650,000, that would be on the lifestyle side of things. But you're not looking for a lifestyle bucky, and you're not looking for something with a bunch of electronic gizmos that could potentially go wrong. You want something that's bare bones, dependable, comes with warranty, and something that's got a name on it. So what's the driving experience like? Well, let's start with the steering wheel. A leather steering wheel surely can't be that much more expensive, and this is as plastic a steering wheel gets. Yeah, maybe it's the fact that I've got a mild case of childhood eczema kicking in again this year, but other than that, it's workhorse good inside here. And like I said, you've got a very decent sound system. You've got 2 different USB ports to charge your devices, so you've got the old spec and the new spec type C and type B, which means that if your courier delivery guy or if you as a company owner needs to charge your devices, it's no problem. Then you've got this big, decently sized screen. You're not the biggest in Ford's range, of course, but you've got maps on here. I've got Android Auto on here, wireless, might I add. And I can connect to all my favorite music, got the weather going, and I've got the map of this area that I'm in Joburg that I don't know at all. So all a very practical experience at the moment. The manual gearbox is slick and notchy in all the right ways, easy to change gears, even faster gear changes are fine. Not that it's encouraged, especially if this is going to be a delivery vehicle, but it's just a car that you can drive all day long. The clutch is light, the brakes are responsive, throttle response is decent. And there is the other positive when it comes to an established brand like this. There are not going to be any surprises, at least not when it comes to the way it drives. Not all workhorses are created equal, and in this case you get a 4-year, 120,000 kilometer warranty, which means for 4 years you can use this vehicle to make money in your business. Now, you don't get the tax breaks you'd get with a single cab or club cab, for example, but who wants to be seen in a single cab anyways? This is, after all, South Africa, where bakkies are basically an extension of your personality. And what better way to extend your personality than driving a Ford?
And that wraps up another awesome episode with my guests. Thank you guys so much for coming through.
Thank you for
Loved it.
Thanks for having me.
Be sure to join us again next week when Google puts the revamped Toyota Yaris GR through its paces. We find out what you can expect to come out of the JMC stable in the near future. And Ernest samples the first in the recently introduced range of Tata products.